we always said great things don't come from comfort zones. I think that if I were to explain Tommy to you guys in college, like the first thing that comes to mind, free spirit. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I want kids now.
Crazy, huh? So the grass that we're standing on.
Exactly.
On this side.
What rapper can you find in a toolbox?
No MSR. Sorry, guys.
People. ASMR.
So I said it right?
No.
ASMR.
Okay, let's dive in.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Nguyen Nguyen Wednesday, where we upload a podcast every single week. And in our podcast, what we talk about is our lives, our experiences, and our stories, the things that we're processing, the things that we're feeling on a week-to-week basis, whether that's tensions or challenges that we're going through. And we do all of this in hopes of connecting with the person listening or watching right now. And hopefully, we talk about things that can be relevant in your lives and help encourage you, empower you to take whatever next steps you're looking to take in your life. So if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to the podcast. And if you're a new subscriber or new viewer, welcome to the podcast. It's so good to have you. If we haven't met yet, my name is Nguyen Nguyen.
And I'm So Nguyen. We are husband and wife, and so we are processing a lot together lately. And right now, a lot of things are ramping up. California's economy is like fully open, I would say. And I think other places, I can only speak on where we live, I guess. And within just like a week of being open, I can already feel major differences just like in the air, I guess you could say. Like there's just so different.
Yeah. You can definitely feel it when you go out now. You can just feel everyone just like so like happy and just ready to get out and just do things and in a sense go back to normal life.
Yeah, I think people right now are working really hard. I just have this sense of just like people are ready to come back stronger than ever. And we both believe that the best is yet to come, and that I just sense that a lot of people are feeling the same way. It's like a renewed energy, I think.
Yeah. So, the past 12 months, we've been talking about this a lot in our podcast, but businesses have been closed. They're finally opened up at full capacity. Yeah. So this is like a season of hustle. Everyone's just working really hard, and it's summertime. So, there's good vibes there. There's positivity in the air and just hopefulness. Yeah. And everyone's just really getting back on the grind, really. And that's how we're feeling right now, in this current period in our life. Yeah. Like we feel that way, and we feel it with others around us as well.
Yeah, it might not be like, I don't know, working really hard or any, it doesn't have to be that. I mean, I see people taking next steps of just like moving across the country or just like ready for a change, ready to like do something different. And so it doesn't mean that like everyone's working super hard at their jobs or something. It could be spending more time with their kids because now the kids are out of school. Like there's just so much change in the air. And I think all of it looks different for everyone what it looks like to ramp back up.
Yeah, it's ramp back up. And then I know Sopa kind of mentioned talking about like the economy, right? Like we're back in this stimulating mode, right? Mm-hmm. So like all these stimulus checks have come out. So people are spending money. People are going back out to, basically spend their money. Mm-hmm. And so the economy, what we hope is going back up, where it's an uptrend where, before it was low, right? For a lot of business owners, this could have been a year where this is like one of their lowest years in terms of financially, and for some businesses this is like one of their highest years. So it depends on who you are and where you're at on that end of things.
And to put it back to like our life and how we're processing all of that, we have our business, Soul Gold Marketing, and then we have Eden, our church. And so both of the organizations we're like on major ramp up mode. I mean, like in every way possible. I feel like we have been on like one project to the next, to the next, to the next. And like I was talking to my friend Mark yesterday, and Mark and I work on a lot of projects together. And I was just like, why don't we ever celebrate the things that we finish? Like, why do we just constantly move on to the next thing? It's just, there's like, no, we're kind of getting back into that.
Yeah, it's very much like head down, and there's like vision head down, but it's never really just like looking up. And no, that's a really good point I think that you made, where it's like we work so hard, we get one thing done and then we're on to the next. Yeah. And without really looking at like where we're at, like the progress that we have made. And it's like what we talked about before. It's like just always just wanting more and more.
Always wanting more and more. And like, what's the next thing? What's the next project? What else do we have left to do? I personally, I don't like that rhythm because I've been in that rhythm a lot of my life before. And I've talked about it on It's a Win-Win, where it's like, let's just celebrate the small wins and like celebrate and like cheer each other on. And like, let's honor the hard work we've put in and the results that we've, produced.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Because we did have an awesome result for a lot of the projects that we've been working on,
Yep.
but it's like, it's just, we're on to the next.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. And, with all this hustling, all this like grind and all this like hard work we're putting in, right? For us, a really big question that we tend to ask ourselves often is, why do we hustle so hard? Why do we work so hard? Why do we grind so hard? And, when we ask ourselves that question, it kind of goes to like success, right? And like, oh, we want to be successful. But then really, what does success really mean? What does it mean to us? And what does that look like for us? And what does it look like for you guys, success, right? For those of you out there, wherever you're at in your life, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think all of this like whole ramp up of like Soul Gold, Eden, our economy, everything, it just led us to kind of just redefine like what does success mean to us? Because if you were to ask us years ago, and if you're new to the podcast, you should go back and listen to the old ones because it kind of, you can get to know who we were before, right? This whole podcast and everything, married life, all of that. But really success to me was like, how much money am I making?
Yeah.
Like what car am I driving? Do I have like the nicest things?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And before we dig a little bit deeper into that, let's build a little bit of context on like our business, right? Like in the stage where we're at in our business, we're in year 4 going on to year 5, which is crazy to think about. And it's such an accomplishment to be in business, even though like I still think we're still at like the young stage, right? So like my parents, like I look at my parents and they've been in business, like they have had a business for the last, I would say 25, maybe almost 30 years. And like, that's like such a huge milestone. And a goal of mine is I would love to get there, right? So they've been business owners for over 25 years, and that's so amazing.
Huge accomplishment.
And even them for right now, they've been crazy busy. So I FaceTime my parents, I talk to them, and they're always kind of like on the go, like working.
They're always at the shop. They're not really at home.
Yeah. And so, that puts some things into perspective. So right now in Soul Gold, we're at a stage where we're kind of refining our focus on what we want to do. We're still in the same space in terms of marketing and media, but now we've really refined some of the things that we like, some of the projects that we want to work on, and start to really narrow down on that. So that's been really exciting, and there's been a lot of work on the back end that we've been doing to get ready for that. I guess we can call it transition, or that
to launch,
or that focus to launch. Right, we're going to be launching at the end of this month. We're going to switch everything over in terms of how we communicate, what we're communicating, and the type of projects that we're going to work on.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
That's super exciting for us, and we know with that it's going to get really busy. It's going to ramp up the work, and what we need to do is going to ramp up, and we are projecting that's going to ramp up pretty rapidly.
Yeah,
and so we're just getting ready for that. We're trying to build teams and everything around that to just to be prepared, really.
Yeah, I think I need to be mentally prepared, because when you're already 4 or 5 years in, right, you learn what you've done right and what you've done wrong. And I want a team to be able to support me, and I don't want to be the one doing it all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's some thoughts on that, which is a whole nother podcast. Is like, do I ramp up my team first and then the work, or wait until the work comes in and then ramp up the team? There are different thoughts on that, which is a different thing. I don't want to talk about it in this podcast. Right. And then with Eden, right? So with Eden Church, that's our team as well, and that's an area we put a lot of time into. And so with Eden, there's a lot of new things going on as well. There's things, I would say, growing challenges in a way, where we're working towards a goal, like this big goal that we're really excited about. And now we're trying to figure out how to organize everything so operations run smoothly, right? And this is on both ends of the organization. Our goal is always to focus on our people, and how do we have, healthy people where we can run a well-oiled machine. And this is for both organizations. So, and that's always a challenge, right? It's not an easy thing to do. So this is where we're at right now. Like, just, in this season of life, it's we have two organizations, and we're just really working really hard on both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been working. Sorry, phone call came in. If you guys can hear that, decline.
It says scam likely. That's
Yeah,
so
I
crazy.
love that Apple's new update says like likely scam,
Yep.
scam likely. Is that what it said?
It says scam likely. So just for a little context, if you didn't hear Sopa, there's a phone call that came in on her phone, and it said scam likely.
Yeah, I don't ever answer my phone anymore unless I have you in my contacts.
Yeah, do you guys answer your phones if you don't know the number? I know I don't.
Definitely not. And I know all the millennials. I can't say all the millennials, but I know like the millennial generation. There's always a joke that they don't like answering their phones.
Yeah, it's like
I
text
don't
me.
like phone calls. Yeah,
Text
please don't
me.
ever call me.
But yeah.
Anyway, what were we saying? I got distracted.
So we were talking about just like the season we're in right now. It's like that hustle season because we're putting so much work into the both organizations we're involved in, right? Soul Gold and Eden.
Oh yeah.
And kind of like bringing everything back around to what you were alluding to, earlier. Is like when we work so hard, is like we want to understand the why. Like, why are we working so hard? Because the why keeps us motivated, keeps us encouraged to continue, putting in the work, putting in the time. And, talking about like when we talk about the why, the question comes up is like, what's success mean to you? And what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I feel like if you don't know why you're working so hard at something, you're just going to burn out. And like if the why is money and you're making money, then it's accomplished, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what your why is. But lately, like I said, we've been redefining what success looks like to us. And back then, like I was saying earlier, to me, it was just like money. That's all it was. And I feel like my mindset has changed so much on what success means to me.
Yeah, and I think that's really good too, because you said like back then, right? Like what success meant to you. And I think success is like an evolving thing, kind of like purpose. When we talked about finding purpose in our life, it's an evolving thing. And as we gain more experience, throughout our lives, like that begins to change. It begins to evolve, and we begin to understand what success really means to us, and what that means is like what's most valuable to us, right? And I think those things do change as you gain more experience just in your life in general. So when we talk about like what does success mean to you, sometimes it's easy to get clouded by the things that you compare yourself to, and that's a whole nother topic, right? It's like the comparison game. And if you guys want us to do a podcast on that, feel free to comment down below and just let us know. And if you guys have any other ideas or things that you guys want to hear, just comment down below, and we'll definitely consider it.
Yeah, because I think we can think about success, right? And look around us and the people that are a similar age or similar life stage than us. And if our lives look really different in a good or a bad way or less or more of things, that's how people define success. And I feel like a lot of people, including myself, have been in that thing of that, or that mindset. I mean, of, like a lot of people in our age, for example, have homes already. Like they've purchased their first home.
Back in the Midwest.
Some of them a lot of them actually have kids. Some of them are like on their third kid, and they're able to provide for those kids. And like the mom doesn't have to work, and then all the things. Like I just see that on social media and friends that I went to high school with and, college with even. And it's not a good feeling comparing yourself to that. But then I always thought that's what success was as well, of like, oh, they already bought a house. Oh, they can have kids now because they're able to provide for the kid, all the things. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just not that for me anymore.
Yeah, so this is what you thought like back then, like before, right? When you would look at maybe, the people that you were kind of comparing yourself to.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with like making great money in your job or like being able to buy your first home. Like that's an amazing accomplishment. It's just, I think everyone's definition of success is different, and mine is no longer like I don't own a home yet, so that makes me unsuccessful. Like I truly don't believe that anymore.
Yeah, and I think, for me, when I think about success, right, and let's talk about the comparison game a little bit here. It's like when we look at our peers around us, when we look at others around us, right, people maybe we went to high school with, or we went to school with in college or whatever, we look at, oh man, they got this job, they're working for this company, they drive this car, they own this house, they have how many of our kids, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you start to think, okay, that should be me, or I want that to be me. And then it's like, then you start to work for those things, right?
Yeah, but then that's what maybe brings them happiness. But for you, it might not be, right? And I feel like you just have to like be confident and own the moment and the season that you're in your life. And it's like we both took a pretty untraditional. Is that the right word? Untraditional?
Untraditional, yeah, I would
Yeah,
say like
paths.
somewhat like a untraditional route.
Yeah.
So I would say in the most traditional way, after high school, we went to college and
Yeah.
went to go for career jobs. And I think after that, like that point, that's like the fork in the road. We kind of chose the path less traveled by. If you guys know that poem, Robert Frost, there you go. I can't believe I remember that. I was like, I learned that probably in elementary or sixth grade or middle school.
I didn't even know
The
that.
path less traveled by. But anyways, so we did kind of go like a different route. So to really, answer and talk more about like how we feel what success means to us. So aside when you're able to kind of block out the comparison, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just really self-reflect on yourself and think about, okay, what does success mean to me? And I think that question really means is like, what is most valuable to me? Like what's something that's really valuable to me? Because that can be your definition of success is when you understand what is most valuable to you. And for some people, it might be money, right?
Yeah.
It might be like, I want to be a millionaire by 30, right? And that's considered success for you. Like this pathway you create for yourself, which is an arbitrary thing, right? There's no like real thing that says you have to be a millionaire by the time you're 30 to be successful, because like Sopal said, it's different for every single person.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing is it does evolve. So for us, before it really was money.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, right? Like when we first moved out here, we hustled hard. We wanted to run the business and just make a ton of money. And then
Yeah, and it was just money. Like relationships and people just wasn't like as valuable because we felt like we just spent so much of our life already doing that, of just like living by family and doing all the things, and we just basically put money in our career first, which it's just not what I'm about anymore.
Yeah, I remember. So remember we talked about in the podcast, like when you would hang out with like Jackie, right? This is at Purdue days in college, and and you would say I would always be in the room. Like you guys would be hanging out in the living room, you, Jackie, and another person, and whoever that person was. Anyways, and Jackie would be like, "Oh, how come like Tom doesn't want to come hang out with us?"
Mm-hmm.
And actually, so what I was doing in the room, so something that I love to do is like flipping items, like flipping stuff. So I would go on Facebook Marketplace, I would go on Craigslist, OfferUp, like Let Go when it was a thing back in the day, even eBay, and I would be looking for like these deals to like flip items. So I would find things and make a profit off of it. And really, it's like what do they call it? Like retail arbitrage, right? You buy these things for a lower price and resell it, right?
Yeah,
And
he's always been about that.
So, and something I love. I
We
love
still do
doing
it to this day.
I still do it to this day. And it's like, I feel like it's almost natural for me. Like when I see something, I'm like, dude, I got to get this because I know I can make money on it.
I mean, I'm doing that now too.
And yeah, and you're even doing it, right? You just did one recently. So, and a thing that we're doing right now is like sneakers.
Yeah.
And there is it's a commodity, right? Like, and it goes up and down in value. And I'm not gonna tell you what
It's a hot
sneakers.
market right now.
No, there is definitely a market. I think I read somewhere, and it's like $1 billion industry. So if you want to get into the sneaker game, go for it. I mean, there's a lot to learn there, but so that's like one area, right? So you just picked up some sneakers that you made over 100% net on, which is great. It's amazing to make 100% ROI on that kind of stuff. But anyways, where was I even going with this? Like we were talking about sneakers. Now my mind's in sneakers. But
were in the room.
So when I was in the room, that's what I was doing the whole time. Because I didn't care to go hang out, and I didn't want to go hang out. Like I was just so focused on like just like finding deals and selling stuff. And I guess you could say it was about the money, but over time I've actually really fell in love with the process of doing that. I love, like, I don't know what
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know what it is.
I mean, it's fun because you buy stuff for cheap and you sell it for more.
Yeah.
That's just exciting.
And really, to me, it was like the process. I guess it's like you get kind of that endorphin kind of feeling, like when you bought something and then you resold it at the same. Is it endorphin?
I don't think it's endorphin.
Oh, is it endorphin? I pronounce words wrong. This is why I'm not an English teacher. This is why I shouldn't teach English.
We're both not good at this,
anything.
you guys.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
Like,
but anyways,
I bet you like Chelsea or like Jackie.
Yeah, comment down below and let me know the proper pronunciation.
English is hard.
Proper enunciation. Okay.
Pronunciation.
Anyways, so to really wrap up this whole story, a little bit long-winded. So through all of that, I focused my time on that, right? On just like buying, flipping, and selling and not hanging out with friends. So I sacrificed the time I could have been spending developing relationships with Jackie and with Sopa and just hanging out with them and just being present. And what we've learned success, now in this part of our life and this stage is that time is what counts for success for us. Time is the most valuable asset to us right now.
Yep.
Because with time, you can do so much. With time, you can invest into relationships. With time, you can commit to things that help people out, to support others, to support organizations. With time, once that is used up, you don't get it back.
Yeah. So time is what success means to you right now.
Having time is what success means to us right now. And the thing is, it's like with time, if you have a lot of time, but you're not maybe you're not working hard to do other things, like don't have time and do nothing. It's about how you spend your time is what I think of it.
Yeah. So setting up Soul Gold, Eden, whatever it is in our life, financial freedom is one thing, right? And flexibility with our time and our schedule is what we currently define as success.
Yes.
And so if we can grow Soul Gold and it ends up making money, but then we also gain time from it because of the process and systems we have in place, that's what success looks to us right now.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, like, money is also important.
Yeah.
Like, we have really high ambitions. Money is also like an important thing, but it's not the most valuable thing that we look at.
Yeah. Like it used to be. Because it's whatever. Money comes and goes. And
yeah, because you can't use money to buy relationships. I mean, you could, I guess, technically, but it's like these superficial, surface level things where it's not a meaningful relationship. And with time, relationships are built on time, and I would say that's a thing that's also really important to us, is meaningful relationships. Because I think as you get older, it's harder to find those. And your circle becomes smaller. I remember, being younger and you have the circle of friends, and as you get older, it starts to dwindle down, smaller and smaller, and then to a point where you have like one or two like really, really good friends.
Yeah, when I think about success for me, I think about time, money, and really how I treat people. Mm-hmm. And not in the sense of like I need to make the most money than everyone, but none of that type of stuff. But like with my gifts and my talents that help me make money, how do I use that money? How do I use that freedom of time that I do have? Mm-hmm. And that is how I'm currently defining success, because I think about this week alone, I've said goodbye to a lot of friends.
I think 3 households, right?
Yeah.
In 1 week. It's crazy that move out of state.
Yeah. So I have Gina, Chelsea, Chamberlain, Ryan, and his daughter, Olivia, and Mason. I mean, the kids, I guess we can count as saying bye, but really it's Ryan.
Yep.
So that's 6 people, 3 households. And for me, being such a relational, connecting person, I didn't know I was a connector. Like when I was growing up, like I didn't think that at all. But really within the last couple of years, I've realized I think that is a gift of mine, is connection. And when that is so high in how I value success in my life, that emotionally took a toll on me. Like I felt like mentally, physically, emotionally drained Sunday and Monday. I mean, I was like exhausted. Like I was just so tired. Like I seriously napped how many times within those last 2 days?
Yeah, I think you took 2 naps
in a day, and you were still
tired.
Sleeping like 6 to 8 hours a night. Like that's a lot. Like I was so tired, but like bringing it back to success, I knew that I gave them as much time and energy and dedication and love to these 3, I'm going to call them households because they're not people, 3 households.
Yeah, I think households work.
The best that I possibly could. And to me, that's what success is how I use my time to bless people, to love people, and basically grow our connections and our relationships.
Yeah, and it's to impact other people's lives, right? We can use our time to do that. It doesn't really cost like any money to do that, to invest into relationships, especially to develop them into meaningful relationships.
Yeah, it didn't really cost any money, right, to do the nice things. But did I use my money that that we have. I sure did. Like I tried, to be generous with my money. And I think to me that's success. It's just not holding on to that money so tightly as if that's the only thing that you have in life.
Yeah.
There's so much more to life than money. And if you can bless your friends that are moving across the country with like gifts, or if it's money or food or meals, whatever you can do, or just like me helping my friend watch his daughter for a couple hours instead of him paying for childcare, why not she just walk over and then I help watch his daughter and have her by
Yeah.
the pool,
Yeah.
Being generous with your time is what me being generous with my time is how I define success right now. And how do I make people feel in
Yeah.
that, right?
And I think like really big picture when you step back is to look at like, and I think I use this example for the finding purpose. It's like when you're on your deathbed,
Yeah.
right? It's like it's going all the way back to that. Like, what do you want people to say about you, at your funeral even, or at your deathbed? And people aren't going to talk about, all this money you had that you spent on yourself or whatever it is. I'm not saying you can't spend money on yourself, but
Yeah.
it's the impact you made in people's lives that are around you, the way
Yeah.
you made people feel. So Daniel, one of our good friends, gave a message, very similar to this, on Father's Day, but he talked about like the best way to show love to your kids, or the way like your kids see love is through time, the time that you spent with them, and to be present. And I think he said something about like with kids, like, what shapes them a lot growing up is like when you're around your kids, that they want to feel that you want to be around them.
Yeah.
And when you do spend time
Like it's
with
not
them,
a burden.
like it's not a burden, right? And that's kind of crazy. Like psychologically, that can affect a kid.
Well, and not only kids, but like my friends. Like when I
And
think
people,
about
yeah.
like Chelsea and how special it was to just like go and eat with her and like go to the park with her. She just comes over and we don't need to do anything. Right? It's like not just kids, but I think as adults, like people want to know you're not a burden to them.
Yeah.
And
Oh
that
yeah.
you want to spend time with them. And imagine being quality time, love language people. Like that even means even more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and it
Like I know I'm a quality time person, even though sometimes you don't think so.
I don't know. I still don't know.
I just like your presence.
Thank you.
Quality time.
And I feel like now that all my friends are moving to all these different places in different states, literally going super across the country, far
East
away,
Coast,
all
the
of them.
South, Southeast.
Like I would say for success, like I have absolutely no regrets on how I was able to love them and bless them. And to me, that's all that matters to me right now with that. And I work hard and Soul Gold and all the other things that I'm doing in my life so I can do that, to be with people and have time with them. It's like because of my flexible work schedule, I can work later at night. And so if my friends have this, crisis or like emergency and they need to talk at 4 p.m. during the day, I'm not like, sorry, I can't because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, actually, I can. I can move my work a little later.
Yeah.
And then what do? I come home and I stay up till midnight working because I was out all day with my friends because they needed me.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah. And I would say also like, time is important, and it's probably the most valuable asset, I believe that we have, just as humans here on this earth. But we're also very protective with our time.
Oh, yeah.
So like we're not afraid to say no to like hanging out or to going somewhere because we are protective,
But our
with our time.
friends are so amazing about that. They're
So
like,
so
don't
the
put pressure.
so the thing is like when we do say yes, is because we do want to. Like so when we do hang out with our friends, it's never a burden because we choose to hang out with them because we want to hang out with them. Hang out with you guys, those of you who are listening right now.
Yeah, we're really intentional with that. If it's not on the Google Calendar, I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
That runs our entire schedule for our entire life.
Yeah. So we hope that today's podcast just kind of sparked something in your mind about what does success mean to you? And like in the work that you're doing, in the life that you're grinding in, why are you working so hard for that?
Yes, it's the why, right?
Yeah. Like why? Because when you have a why, it changes the game.
To dig a little bit deeper, so when we talk about like the why we work so hard, why we hustle so hard, and when you say, oh, it's for the money, I think people want money so they can have financial freedom, right?
Yeah.
We all kind of work towards that in a way. All of us at some point in our lives, like we want financial freedom, and I think to dig deeper than that, and this is what we've been talking about this entire episode, is that when you remove the financial part, when that's taken care of, what you're really after is the freedom to do things, the freedom to hang out with people, to invest into, meaningful relationships, people that matter to you, right? And I think that's so important to understand that, because it's really not about the money. Because once you have it, okay, great, you can go do all these things, because now you have the freedom, you have the time. And I think that's like for me, that's a big like mindset shift. It's like I'm working hard so I can have more time. How do I purchase or buy more time, right? With money, you can do that. There's more things that you can do to have more time to do whatever you want to do, right? Everyone has different ambitions. Everyone has different goals, and everyone wants to spend their time, on their own, like, however they want to do it.
Yeah.
So I think when you think about financial freedom, really it's about the freedom and not really the finances. And why do people want to retire early? Right? People who want to retire at age 40. Why? Because you want to get out of the rat race and have that freedom to do whatever you want in your life.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it like that. I guess you're just a deeper thinker when it comes to this stuff than I am. Because for me, I just like look at what's legit in front of me, and I'm like, well, I did the best that I could with all my friends. I had no regrets. Like that's kind of where I am with all this.
Yeah. And I guess I'm thinking more like just bigger picture, right? With all of that.
It makes sense with their personalities.
And we're able to spend time with, friends because we have that mindset, because time is valuable. So what can we do to free up our time, right?
Yeah. Also, side note, I also think that your work will always be there, but the people in your life, your family and your friends won't always be there. And if anything, living in the Bay Area where everyone is always constantly moving and leaving and moving in and all the things, it's so true. Like my work will legit always be there. It's a never ending thing because it's a business, right? Or a church. Like there's always things that will be there. But will Chelsea and Chamberlain always be here? No, like they've moved, like they're gone. They're not here anymore, right? Gina, same thing. And like even my time with Jackie when we were at Purdue, like I feel like we have tried our very best with that time. It's like friends and family, that won't always be there.
Yeah.
But your work will always be.
I think that's super true. Your work will always be there. There will always be work for you that needs to be done. And there's a couple books that come to mind that we still want to read. At least I still want to read. Is Poor Dad, Rich Dad is one of them. Yeah. I think that's going to be a really good book. And I started diving into 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. I started reading that the first couple of chapters, and it's really interesting because it really changes your view on like work and money even. Right?
I bought that book. I bought it for us and I didn't even read it yet.
Wait, the 4-Hour Work Week?
Yeah.
Oh, you bought that?
I did.
Oh.
That's wild. I told you guys, audio right now is just what's happening for me.
Yeah, so. I think I'm gonna get on audio so I can listen to it.
Yeah, we can share.
Yeah, for sure. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening or watching the podcast. It means a lot to us, and thank you for the comments and the likes. It's super encouraging. So before we wrap this up, we just want to ask you one question. And what does success mean to you? And what does that look like for you? How do you define success in your own words? Comment down below and let us know. We're intrigued to hear that different perspectives from other people, because this podcast is all about just having conversation, connecting through a certain thing, a certain maybe tension that we're going through, a challenge or whatever it is. Yeah. And we would love just to hear. We're very open-minded on people's thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, we love hearing from you guys. It really does mean so much. And I think like I said, I crave deep, meaningful connections and relationships. And I think through this podcast, because we talk about things that can be really, it's personal. Some of it really is. Like it's not always easy opening up to people that you don't even know all the time to like talk about what success means when, sometimes society has a different view of what success is. Oh, yeah. And so I think we're far from experts in this. Again, we just share how we're processing things with you guys. And so this is a constantly evolving definition for us. But in this time in our life, this is what it is. Yep. And I think for you, it'll change too. So make sure you guys comment below and don't forget to subscribe if you guys haven't already, because, the subscribers right now is 111. We'd love to see
Yeah.
it bump up some
Let's
more.
get to like 150. Tell your
Yeah.
friends, share this video or share the other episodes that you really connected with. And let's get to 150.
Yeah, because sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. And we want to reach more people, with some of the experiences that we're going through right now, the stuff that we're processing. And we just want to be real with you guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this is going to wrap us up, you guys. We will see you next week on It's a Win-Win podcast. My name is Sopa Win.
And my name is Tommy Nguyen. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Peace.